rounds to go. 2 races here at the Sachsenring and 2 races in a fortnight's time at the Hockenheim. It is very, very tight indeed, with just 10 points between the top 2 in the championship. Larry ten Voorde, who is 3rd in the championship, has been going well in qualifying. He's going to be 3rd on the grid. Marius Nacken left it late in qualifying, and his Porsche is going to be starting on the outside of the 2nd row of the grid. Chris Hartley here, trackside then, to talk you through the first race of the weekend for the Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland. We've had 5 wins this season for Tommy Preining, the young Austrian driver, only in his 2nd season of the Porsche Carrera Cup Germany, the former European karting champion, who came up through the Porsche Junior program and won the Rookie Championship last year off the back of a good first season in cars in the German Formula 4 Championship, the ADAC F4 Championship. And he's also a driver who's contesting the Porsche Super Cup this year as well, the international version of this championship, which supports the Formula 1 program. So this talented Austrian driver there, just 20 years of age, on pole position. 2nd fastest lap time sending the grid for race 1, fastest lap times for race 2 tomorrow. And he and Michael Ammermuller traded fastest lap times throughout the course of a qualifying session, which this morning was heavily interrupted at the start by red flags. There were a couple of, not big offs, but a couple of cars off in the gravel traps which had issues, brought out the red flags and stopped the flow of the session. But then it really kicked off afterwards, and we had some great battles for pole position between Preining and Ammermuller. There's confirmation of the championship table. Larry ten Voorde, 57 points behind in 3rd place in the championship. Has yet to get a race victory this year. He's had 4 third-place finishes, but no race wins yet. Jaap van Lagen missed the start of the championship year, but it's good to have him back. And the 2-time race winner now, won the last race in his home circuit, his home country of the Netherlands, with the Zandvoort race. He's 4th in the championship. Confirmation then of the first 2 rows of the grid. Tim Zimmerman and Tony Wolff are going to be on the 3rd row of the grid for this one. Tony will be 4th on the grid for the race tomorrow. Igor Valilko, and next to him we have then got the number 15 car lined up next, which is Glenn Van Paris, going well in the qualifying session. So they round out the 4th row of the grid. Qualifying lap time this morning, very rapid indeed. The average speed was almost 160 kilometers an hour around this 3.67 kilometer long circuit here in Saxony in Germany. It's a very up and down circuit. It's a challenging circuit. It's got some hugely quick sections, particularly at the back of the lap. Some technical sections as well. Bravery required. Michael Ammermuller then looking to pick up a race victory here. He started the season brilliantly at Oschersleben. He was unbeaten. He won both races in the first weekend of the season. But at the Red Bull Ring, round 2, that was where the winning streak started for Tommy Preining, and he won 4 races on the bounce. He won 5 out of 6. He got 6 podiums on the trot. In fact, he's had 7 podium finishes on the trot now. So points in every single race so far this season for Tommy Preining. Wasn't the best start at Oschersleben, but he still bagged points. And since then, he's been on the front foot. These 5 wins, 7 podiums so far this season. He gets great onboard shots as well from the 2 championship contenders. 2018 marking the 29th season now of the Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland, which was first launched in 1990. Around about 480 brake horsepower for these GT3 911s, all running on Michelin tyres. Great prize fund this season as well, backed by Porsche. They have a total prize fund of over 550,000 euros across the different categories, with the AM class and the Pro class as well. A chance this weekend for BWT Lechner Racing, Walter Lechner's team, to wrap up the team's championship. They've won all but 1 race as a team this year, and they could wrap it up from Porsche Racing. They've got 348 points. Porsche Racing in 2nd place, 171. There's a massive gap between them, so it should be that Lechner Racing at least wrap up 1 title. Which of their drivers is going to wrap up the driver's title for 2018, though? We're not going to find out this weekend. It is very likely going to go down to Hockenheim. But a real battle on our hands here in what's going to be the 30-minute race, the first of the weekend. Tommy Preining has just had the edge on Michael Ammermuller this weekend in terms of speed. In pre-practice, in qualifying, he's just been about 1/10 of a second quicker. Ammermuller gave it a real good go. What about Larry ten Voorde? Can he do anything about them? He's the best of the rest at the moment, 3rd on the grid. Fourth on the grid, Marius Nacken, the Norwegian driver, who was left it late in qualifying, but put some really good laps in to get onto the second row of the grid. Red lights go out, race gets underway. Wonderful start for Tommy Breining, launches the Porsche off the line, and he's going to close the gap to Mikael Ammermuller before they even get to the braking zone for turn one. There's some contact. Mikael Ammermuller's got one car to the left, one car to the right. There is contact. They all get through turn one just about, but he's plummeted down out of the top three, and he's down, I think, in about fifth place, Mikael Ammermuller. Not ideal for him. Yes, he's fifth. So Zimmerman and Wolf both got past him out through turn three, and beginning of the climb uphill now they come. So frustration for Mikael Ammermuller, but he did well to avoid going off the road there because he had a full attack left and right. He didn't get a great, it was an okay start, but it wasn't a great start. Who have we got here in drama? Oh dear, that's the number 4 machine of Soren Spreng, who had an off in qualifying this morning. I don't think he's the only one, is he? No, it is just him on his own. So Spreng gets going again, but with a bit of debris littered on the circuit where he was. But he gets going, and so there should be no need for a safety car. Good news that for Tommy Breining, as he now settles in. Through they come, down the hill. And look at the gap that he has. And Mikael Ammermuller is already going back on the attack here in the number 11 BWT Lechner racing car, trying to get his way back through, up the order if he can. Having lost these places right at the start of the race. Oh, big twitch there just ahead from Wolf, and he might get the better exit coming out of turn 12 and get through. Wolf is going to possibly drop 1 or 2 places here. Ammermuller's going to fight back. It's going to be fourth as he crosses the line. So it's Breining, Nacken in second place, Zimmerman in third. Ammermuller gets back up to fourth. Wolf was fifth over the line, but I think he might now be sixth when we see him next, because the 37 car of Igor Velilko, the Polish driver, was having a big go to try and get past as well. 10 points between the top two in the championship. 25 points for a race win is what Tommy Breining is on for in these very early stages of the race. And for fourth, it's only 13 points for Mikael Ammermuller. So as it stands, he'd more than double his advantage here. But it's a big but, because Ammermuller, I'm sure, is going to start to fight back. Look, he's already onto the tail of the third place car of Zimmerman as they close through onto the back part of the straight now. He's very rapid, second sector of the lap. Ammermuller, the Porsche Super Cup champion from 2017, currently up there fighting for the Porsche Super Cup in 2018 as well, with a round to go in Mexico. Currently leads the standings. Tommy Breining up there as well, having had 3 race wins on the bounce in the Porsche Super Cup. Racing Porsche since 2012, so he knows how to handle himself. Mikael Ammermuller closing the gap now onto the tail of Zimmerman as they come out of turn 12 to complete another lap of the race. He's within a car length. Is he going to be super brave into turn 1? We haven't seen many moves so far this weekend in the other categories at the first turn, so no. But it just starts to show and put on the pressure. Velalko's dropped a position down to 7th. Loten Vord didn't make a great start, so he's another one trying to come back up through the order. The 93 car was 7th from 3rd on the grid. He's back up to 6th place now, so it's Breining that leads. Nacken in 2nd, Zimmerman 3rd, Ammermuller in 4th place, Wolf in 5th, Ten Voorde in 6th place in the Project 1 car, and then down a place to 7th, Igor Velilko. 8th place is the number 15 car of Glenn Van Paris. 9th place is number 6 Carlos Rivas, who is by a long way been the quickest driver from the AM class this weekend. He's 9th. 17th is his nearest rival within that category, which is Jorn Schmidt-Stade in the number 12 car, who leads the standings and has barely been off the podium in terms of the AM class this season, but struggled a bit here this weekend. He is, though, at least ahead of his nearest rival in the points, second in the AM class standings. He's number 33, Stefan Raykopf, and he's behind in 19th position. Right, Ammermuller trying to close in on Zimmerman here. Dylan Pereira, if they've got the car fixed, might be one to watch as well. There's another Porsche Super Cup racer, very rapid driver from Luxembourg, but problems with the car meant he started way down at the back of the grid, and will start at the back of the grid for tomorrow as well. He only got 1 slowish lap in qualifying. The leader goes through, the gap is 2.6 seconds. Ammermuller all the while can see his championship rival getting away from him. Let's get a replay of the start. Great start from Breining to the right of the picture. It was all right off the line for Mikael Ammermuller. It was Nacken making a really good start though. Marius Nacken, the Norwegian flag proudly emblazoned upon the roof of the car. Look, goes down the inside of Ammermuller, and Ammermuller sent out wide then. That's where he got into trouble and plummeted down to 5th place. Here's the rear-facing camera from Tommy Preining, and, well, if there was contact, it was fairly minimal, but it was enough. Mikael Ammermüller had to jump out of the way of Marius Nacken, and when he did that, he went offline, and others came through as well. In fact, as he jumped out of the way, Mikael Ammermüller, I reckon, just tagged the front left corner of Larry ten Voorder's car, the yellow and black car there. Look, yeah, yes, he did, and that was why Larry dropped down the order as well. So tough stuff when you're on the outside line and people are trying to come up the inside of you. The one on the outside is the one usually it takes the brunt of any contacts, and that's what happened to Larry ten Voorder. Few back to the 98 car of Tom Lautenschlager. If we get more replays on board with Richard Wagner, and this was the spin for number 4, Wagner. I thought there was another car in the background. It was Richard Wagner. So we saw Soren Spreng's car stopped, and Wagner in the green and white number 87 car just had nowhere to go. Spinning car in front of him, cars either side of him, and he had no choice really but to make the contact. Still, Mikael Ammermüller is stuck behind Tim Zimmermann, the 22-year-old German in the number 5 car, who's come up through from touring car racing last year in the TCR Germany Championship, was a podium finisher in that. He had a good season in 2016, the first year of TCR Germany, with an 8th place finish and 3 podiums, and prior to that was a young single-seater racer in things like the Formula Masters German Championship and the ADAC Formula 4 Championship as well. So another good, talented young drivers, lots of them coming into the Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland. And on board now with Tony Wolff, who's another young, rapid driver. He's just 19 years of age in his 2nd season of Porsche Carrera Cup racing. Somebody else that came up through Formula 4 racing as well. And he's in the number 7 car, which currently runs in 5th place. Just behind him is Larry ten Voorder, 3rd in the championship, who's closing the gap as well. So a good battle going on. This is the rear-facing camera from the 5th place car of Wolff, looking back at Larry ten Voorder. Falalco in 7th. Van Paris in 8th place, still over the line, nose to tail they come, flashing past the commentary box window, past the crowd here and down towards turn 1. Larry ten Voorder's going to try and go around the outside here. Surely that's not going to happen. Can he cut back for the inside? Well, yeah, but it'll put him on the wrong line for the next corner, the left-hander at turn 2. And I don't think he'll be able to lunge down the inside at turn 3 here. Mikael Ammermüller getting more and more frustrated behind the tail of Tim Zimmermann. Championship points being lost, not what he wanted at all. Would have been bad enough finishing 2nd to Tommy Preining, finishing 4th with Preining winning the race, and his 10-point deficit is going to more than double to 23 points. Larry ten Voorder trying to keep himself in the championship fight as well, trying to get his 4th podium of the season, but at the moment he's in 6th place. There he is, right at the tail of Wolff. They are being caught by Igor Veliko as well, as another young driver, just 20 years of age, racing last year in the Mobile One Porsche Super Cup, Euro Formula Open single-seater racing prior to then, a top 10 finisher in that championship for a couple of years running. So he's on the tail of that group now, 3 of them together for 5th, 6th and 7th positions. 8th place, but a couple of seconds behind them is Glenn Van Paris, from a Rotax Max Euro Championship kart racer, and a very good one at that. And then in 9th place, we've currently got number 16, Gustav Malja, the Swedish driver. 10th place is Henrik Skog, who's 6th in the championship, but struggled in qualifying this morning. So he's having to come from the middle of the grid, but Skog has made some progress. Whatever they've done to the kart seems to be working. So Skog, number 20, the one that's made a good start to this race. Having gone really well in qualifying, Carlos Rivas still leads the AM class, but he's dropped down to 16th place. He's lost quite a few places in the last few laps. He was in the top 10, but the number 6 car now, the Luxembourg driver, the Black Falcon back car, down in 16th place, and a couple of positions ahead of his nearest rival for the win in the AM class, Jorn Schmidt-Stade. So Tommy Preining already 4.6 seconds clear. And if he can hold on to this, and he's not really holding on, is he? It's not like he's under pressure. It will be his 6th win of the season. 2 for Mikael Ammermüller. And the championship, with 3 races to go, looking a lot more favourable for the young Austrian driver from Linz. We barely seen him because he's a long way up the road. Snacken going well as well, the Norwegian, and that rocket ship start and really triggered the problems for Mikael Ammermuller when he launched down the inside of him. You can see cars ran wide on the exit to turn 12, uphill. Then over the undulation, Mikael Ammermuller, all he can do is try and show his nose around the outside, because the inside line is well and truly covered. He's free to try some different lines because there's nobody right behind him. So he can try the wider line into the corner. But at the moment, Zimmermann is doing just enough to keep the German at bay. Mikael Ammermuller is a driver that seems to have been around for a long, long time, but he's only 32 years of age, been racing Porsches, as I say, since 2012. And prior to that, he was an endurance racer racing in the ADAC GT Masters Championship, with which Porsche's now race on the same bill, with a big crowd here watching at the Sachsenring. Mikael Ammermuller, you get the sense that if he could find a way past, he'd be very quickly keen to get onto the tail of Marius Nacken, who's not that far away from them. But his chances of catching Tommy Preining are now almost impossible, I would say. Number 97 has just lost a couple of places. Sandro Kaibach has just dropped from 13th down to 15th on the previous lap. Being passed by number 18, Michael de Quesada, and the American driver, and number 69 also got passed. That was Jaap van Lagen. Jaap down in 14th place at the moment. It's 5th fastest in qualifying, but I won't mention the fact that he plummeted down the order at the start of the race. So Jaap van Lagen trying to come back through the order. One of the drivers that's been race winners this year. He's gained another one. He's up to 13th. He's got ahead of de Quesada. So number 69, Jaap van Lagen, the ultra-experienced Porsche racer, both in Porsche Carrera Cup Germany and the Porsche Super Cup. The Dutch driver going well off the back of his race victory last time out at Zandvoort. Also a race winner a couple of rounds ago at the Nürburgring. 4th in the championship despite missing the first 4 races of the season. And Jaap van Lagen, his record this season is that every race he's started, he's finished on the podium. 4 out of 4 for him. 2 wins, a second and a third, which makes you wonder what might have been had he been able to start the season this year. Jacob Eidson in 11th place in the Team Project 1 entries, and absolute concentration written across his face here. Great shot looking back at the driver. You can see the G-forces as he goes through the corners. Some compression as well under braking. Pushing right back down into the seat. Working away at the wheel. This is what he's looking at, trying to catch the car ahead, which is Henrik Skog, the Swedish driver, in 10th place. So trying to get himself up into the top 10, just ahead of the pair of them. Another Swedish driver is Malia, number 16, Gustav Malia, in the Team Deutsche Post Project 1 car. And you see compression pushed right down under braking into turn 1. And closing the gap, Jacob Eidson with a good run over the start-finish line. Look at him fighting, his neck muscles fighting to keep the head and the helmet, so you can see where he's going through the corners. Huge amounts of G-force through this sector, through turn 2, through turn 3, turns 4 and 5, and then dropping over the crest down through turn 6 and really picking up the speed. Mikael Ammermuller is still 4th, still stuck behind Christoph Zimmermann, and the longer it goes on, the more comfortable Zimmermann is going to be feeling here, as Ammermuller will start to run out of ideas, and the surprise element of any attack will have evaporated. Still got a good battle going on for 5th place as well between Wolf and Ten Voord. Wolf in the 7 car, Ten Voord in the 93 car. But there's the battle for the final spot on the podium. Marius Nacken still not getting away from them. His last lap time 1:24.7, and the 2 behind lapping very similar times. There's the Polish driver, number 37, Igor Valilko, who's currently 8th in the championship table, and looking for one of his best results of the season here in 7th place, if he can hold on to it. He's been looking quick all day long, went well in qualifying this morning. And number 7, holding the inside line, is Wolf, 37, Valilko, trying to get through past him. And now on the exit to turn 2, he'll have another lap, but he'll be on the outside line for the right-hander at turn 3. And he'll have to settle back into position, but great close racing. Now he nips back on the exit, but left-hander coming up, same problem, he's on the wrong line. And number 7, Wolf is able to keep the young Polish driver at bay. And this is definitely going to be helping out Larry Tanvorder, who's got past now ahead of Wolf into 5th place. And look how quickly he's got away. He's only just got past. And Larry Tanvorder is suddenly about 2 seconds up the road. And with Mikael Ammermuller stuck behind the number 5 car of Tim Zimmerman, I reckon with a couple of quick laps, Larry Tanvorder could catch up. What sort of gap has he got to try and make up? About 1.6 seconds. The way he's going, I don't think it's going to be a problem. He's absolutely flying. Larry Tanvorder, all that pent-up frustration has been released, and he's got his head down. Has just left these two for absolute dead. Over the line, in front of me goes Tommy Priding. Yes, he's still in the race, and yes, he's still winning easily. So he goes. Naken's crossed the line, 8.3 seconds adrift. 123.8 for Tommy Priding, the race leader, and 124.6 is for the next few cars. So he's the best part of a second a lap quicker than anybody else at the moment. We're around about 2/3 of the way into the race. This is the battle for 6th place between Wolf and Valilko. Nothing doing there. Valilko has to sit tight once again and be patient. There are places to overtake around here at the Sachsenring, but these drivers are so evenly matched that they are on the same pace, really, and you are relying on almost the driver ahead of you making a mistake. All you do is keep the pressure up, keep on putting your nose in, keep on getting alongside, and try and force the driver ahead into a mistake. But for now, Wolf is not relenting. Tanvorder's just set his personal best through Sector 1 as he tries to close the gap to Mikael Ammermuller in 4th place, and he's doing so. He's 1.4 seconds adrift. Valilko, by the way, who's in 8th place in the championship, the number 37 car. His best result so far this season came at the Red Bull Ring, where he finished in 4th place. But this would be one of his better results of the season. There he is, just dropped away a little bit from the tail of Tony Wolff. He's 3 seconds clear of Glenn Van Paris. There to remind you is the gap of the race leader. It's almost the entire start-finish straight now. Mikael Ammermuller looking very close as he came past the commentary box window over the start-finish line, and he's right under the rear wing now of Zimmerman, but again Zimmerman knows what's coming. He holds the inside line. Ammermuller hopes that he runs out wide, which he does a little bit, but it's okay because it's a left-hander coming up, and so almost by default the number 5 car ends up on the right line through the hairpin at turn 3. Get the exit right because you're uphill, and I think they're catching Naken as well at the start of this lap. Very similar lap times for the last few laps, but Ammermuller has been spurred on by the fact that, look, Larry Tanvorder has caught up very rapidly indeed. So 3rd, 4th, 5th together. In fact, it's almost going to be 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th together if they keep on spurring each other on. But Larry Tanvorder has absolutely flown after them, and Mikael Ammermuller has now got a big problem because previously, with nobody right behind him, he was able to try some different lines, to try the outside line, to try and show his nose. Now he can't do that because if he goes off the line, Larry Tanvorder in the number 93 car is just going to steal his position. So now he's in that precarious position of trying to attack and defend and balance it all out at the same time. Prediction for the team championship: Lechner Racing will move on to a 202-point advantage from Team Butcher Post by Project One. Who will move up to 2nd. Porsche Racing at the moment are going to drop down to 3rd place in the standings. It's almost really given that Lechner are going to win the team's championship. There is still a good fight going on for 2nd, the runners-up spot, as Larry Tanvorder now goes on the attack. So this time Mikael Ammermuller has to worry about somebody else attacking him for the first time in the race. He gets boxed in on the inside line. Larry Tanvorder right behind him now and alongside him, but again he's going to be on the outside line. Mikael Ammermuller through the left-hander at turn 2 holds the position. Got to have eyes everywhere now. He's looking in front of him, he's looking left, he's looking right, he's looking in the mirrors. Doesn't know what to do here. This could be good news for Zimmerman, because if Ammermuller gets sucked into a battle with Tanvorder, it might just allow the number 5 car, Tim Zimmerman, to get away. Tanvorder absolutely charging here. And the Deutsche Post back car, the yellow and white and black machine, just charged through. As soon as he got past Wolff, he was like a rat out of a drain pipe. Couldn't see him for dust. This was how close it got. You see Ammermuller, he's got to brake late to keep Tanvorder behind him, but if he brakes a bit too late, he's going to be into the back of Zimmerman's car. So it's a very fine balancing act this for Mikael Ammermuller, and not a situation he wanted to find himself in. He wanted a nice, easy battle. Well, not an easy battle, but he wanted to be free of all this and to try and battle with Tommy Priding for the lead of the race, and it's never happened for him. And the reason it didn't happen was because Marius Nacken made a great start, got off the line well, dived down the inside of him, and then forced him out wide, and then it was all on the back foot from there, really. Great slow-mo cameras for the onboards here. The Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland. Tommy Preining on course for what would be his 5th win of the season and his 7th consecutive podium finish. And he's still got this terrific record of points in every race. Michael Ammermuller has also scored points in every race so far this season. And so too Larry ten Voorde. They've been really consistent, those 3 drivers. Not many drivers have achieved it. Another one that's done it is Dylan Pereira, actually, but it looks like his streak is going to come to an end. Problems in qualifying this morning, putting the number 26 car at the back of the field. Pereira has made progress. He's just moved up to 16th place on the previous lap. And he's just moved ahead of the AM class leader, number 6, Carlos Rivas. So 2 Luxembourg-based drivers running together on track at the moment. Ten Voorde just having dropped back a bit now. Maybe to try and cool the tyres, gather his thoughts and launch another attack. He's definitely dropped back. And you sense it's probably deliberate because of the way he seemed to have been able to catch up very quickly to the tail of Michael Ammermuller. Or is there an issue that's suddenly developed? Getting into the closing stages of the race. Which looks like it's going to be a 19-lapper. Over the line, 11.5 seconds clear for the unchallenged Tommy Preining, leading the way. Marius Nacken with a 1:24.8 was caught on that lap by Zimmerman. Ammermuller has just set a personal best lap, 1:24.2. So third's catching second, fourth's catching them both. And then we've got this battle just behind for 6th place still between Tony Wolff in the number 7 car and the number 37 machine of the Polish driver Igor Walilko, who is desperate to get through, but there's so little between these drivers that there are no clear-cut opportunities coming his way. The Preining leads, Nacken 2nd, Zimmerman 3rd, Ammermuller 4th, ten Voorde's 5th, Wolff is 6th, Walilko 7th, and Paris still in 8th, Malnion 9th, and Skoog just had Patrick, also a Porsche Carrera Cup racer, concentrating and doing well in the Scandinavian Championship. He's in 10th place. But Lukash is 11th in car 68. 12th place is Jaap van Lagen now, so made some recovery. And catching those ahead of him by 1 or 2 tenths of a second a lap. Then in 13th place now, and dropped back a couple of positions, it's Jacob Eidson, another of the Team Project 1 races, the American. And another American just behind him is Michael de Quesada in another Team Project 1 car, number 18 in 14th place. And 15th place, currently number 97, Sandro Kaibach. The AM class still being led by number 6, Carlos Rivas in 17th. Second in that class is the points leader, Jorn Schmidt-Stade, in the number 12 car, who's running in 19th place. Right, Michael Ammermuller has wound the clock back up now. He's tightened the elastic band of the catapult. He's about to release the attack. Ammermuller into the closing stages. Can he at least get himself onto the podium? In fairness, Zimmerman hasn't given him any opportunities. Dylan Pereira goes across the line, having gained another place back. And oh dear, Wright is off. And Chris Wright had a couple of offs in qualifying this morning and brought about the red flags with a few minutes to go at the end of the session, which slightly curtailed qualifying. He's off again. And that looks like it's towards the end of the lap. I think that's turn 11. Gone off, and the car is going to be buried, and there's no way he's going to be able to drive out of that. So Chris Wright having a difficult day so far. And could this bring about the safety car and bunch the field up? And if it does, though, are we going to get much racing after that? Because there's only a few laps left to go. Preining's just gone through past me. That's the commentary box. Only now does the second place car come into the last corner. He's got more than the start-finish straight on everybody here. Must be looking in the mirrors thinking, really? What's going on? Where are they? 12.5 seconds clear. It's just become a test drive almost from Tommy Preining. Right. Second, third, and you're on board with 4th place, Michael Ammermuller. Brake lights on as they go through turn 2. Quickly drag the car across to the right to cover off the line through turn 3. Begin the ascent now through the next sequence of corners at turns 4, 5 and 6 before you then plummet downhill, and the speed really picks up past Karthaler and down to turn 7. Curious, isn't it, how Larry ten Voorde rapidly got onto the back of these two, showed his nose a couple of times and has just dropped off the boil now, and it was like dropping off a cliff as well. It was suddenly one lap to the next. He'd gone from being on the offensive to hanging on just about to the tail of this group, and something has gone on that car. Whether there was a bit of contact when he was all over the back of Ammermuller, or whether the tyres just have gone off because he was pushing so hard to catch them, I'm not sure, but he's definitely lost pace relatively. Also struggling a bit at the end of the race is the driver in second place, number 14, Marius Nacken, the Norwegian, has really been caught now by Zimmermann. So on one hand, Zimmermann's thinking, right, I want to hang on to this, I want to get a podium finish, but well, I might be able to get second place. What shall I do? Shall I go for it? Shall I not? Time is running out. We're on the final lap of the race. Over the line they go. On the 19th and final lap. And Mikael Ammermuller shows his nose one more time into turn 1. Ten Voorde decides to make an appearance again and comes back onto the tail. Very quick on the way into turn 1. And you look back now from Mikael Ammermuller's car to the 5th place car of Larry Ten Voorde. It doesn't look like he's going to get his 5th podium of the season here, and there's something very, very dramatic happens in the closing lap of the race. 13 seconds clear. Tommy Preining, he's already into sector 2 and on course for 25 points. Only 13 points coming the way of Mikael Ammermuller. So the gap between the two will grow from 10 to 23 points, with 75 points still up for grabs in the 3 remaining races. The one here at Sachsenring tomorrow, the 2 to come at Hockenheim. Ammermuller will be a very frustrated driver. The season starting so well with those 2 wins, those 2 second place finishes. He hasn't done much wrong this year, but Tommy Preining has cruised to the checkered flag. First action he gets is to lap a car towards the end of the race as he gets past Peter Scheufen. So a terrific, dominant victory for Tommy Preining, unchallenged in that race. Marius Nacken goes across the line in second. Well done to Tim Zimmermann, really. He takes his first podium. Tim Zimmermann in 3rd place, fending off the ultra-experienced Mikael Ammermuller. Larry Ten Voorde right with him in 5th place. And 6th place goes to Tony Wolff. 7th place, Igor Velilko. 8th place, Glenn Van Paris, who was 8th all the way through that race. 9th place to Gustav Malja, and 10th place going to Henrik Skog. Lucas just crossed the line 11th. 12th place has gone to a very disappointed Jaap van Lagen, off the podium for the first time this season. Look, he's already back. Tommy Preining, they're still finishing the race lower down the order. Well done to Carlos Rivas as well, who has wrapped up a very strong day to win the AM class, down in 17th position. And there was a late change because number 33, second in the points, Stefan Rakoff, managed to get ahead of the points leader, Jorn Schmidt-Stade. So confirmation that Lechner, subject to the post-race checks, have wrapped up the team's title. BWT Lechner Racing teams champions for 2018 by a huge margin. Their drivers having dominated the races this year with wins all the way through the season. There's only one time that they haven't scored more points than anybody else as a team. That was last time out at Zandvoort. But 6 wins now for Tommy Preining, 2 for Mikael Ammermuller, and the only other driver to win races this year has been Jaap van Lagen, the Porsche Racing driver. He didn't get into the points in that race. So Ammermuller would have hoped for a great start, even if he was slightly slower than Preining in the build-up to the race, in free practice and qualifying. If you can get a good start, you can keep him behind, you can sneak some points. But even though he made an okay start, he wasn't going to challenge Tommy into turn 1, and then it all went wrong when down the inside of him he found the number 14 car of Marius Nacken, had to jump out of the way. May have been a bit of contact there as well. That slightly ruined the race for Larry Ten Voorde as well, because he was on the outside of both of them. He got a tag, and Ammermuller dropped to 5th place, and Ten Voorde dropped out of the top 6, but they both fought back. Tommy Preining winning by 12.6 seconds. He cruised around that final couple of laps. Marius Nacken second. Tim Zimmermann gets his first podium in 3rd place. Mikael Ammermuller 4th. Larry Ten Voorde in 5th. Tony Wolff fended off Igor Velilko for the entire race for 6th place. 8th place to Glenn Van Paris. 2 Swedes then, Gustav Malja and Henrik Skog, 9th and 10th. Robert Lucas had a tough qualifying session, came through to 11th. Jaap van Lagen had a bad first lap, but recovered in the end to 12th place. 13th going to the number 24 car of the American driver Jacob Eidson, and the winner of the AM class in 17th place, Carlos Rivas. As I say, from a late change there, as Stefan Raykopf managed to get ahead late on of his closest rival, the championship leader, Jorn Schmidt-Stade. So that is another title which looks set to go down to the wire. Jorn Schmidt-Stade had 4 straight wins at the start of the year in the AM class, but they've been catching him up lately. Tommy Preining then, 204 points, 22 clear of Michael Amamola, Larry ten Voorde on 133. Losing ground now. It does look like a two-way fight going into the final 3 races of the season. Confirmation of the provisional points after the first race of the weekend, race 11 of the 2018 season. That is in the pro class. So in the AM class, it's still going to be Jorn Schmidt-Stade that leads the way, but Stefan Raykopf gaining a few points back there. Stefan only 12 points clear of Carlos Rivas, who's also taken 4 wins this year in the AM class, and that's now he's 5th. I'll wait for the drivers to make their way to the podium, then we'll get some slow-mo replays. Tim Zimmerman coming home in 3rd place, and it was a hard-fought 3rd place because he had the entire race this pink machine behind him and in his mirrors of Michael Amamola. He fended him off though and got the podium. Marius Nacken, courtesy of that terrific start off the line, and a brave move down the inside of turn 1, snatching 2nd place. But after about 6 or 7 laps, I couldn't even see this guy anymore. Tommy Preining was down the road and gone. Helped, yes, by the fact that his closest rival got caught up at turn 1, but still a very impressive drive from Tommy Preining, who, as I say, has been on great form in the Porsche Super Cup as well of late, picking up lots and lots of race wins. So he's on a real high at the moment. So too are his team. Walter Lechner has played a big part in the development of Tommy Preining, and a proud moment for the Austrian team because they will now be confirmed as teams champions for 2018, absolutely smashing the opposition as well in what is a very, very competitive championship. So 386 points, over 200 points clear of Team Deutsche Post by Project One, who move into 2nd place ahead of Porsche Racing because Jaap van Lagen out of the points. Race Union are in 4th, and then Lechner in 5th place as well, ahead of MRS GT Racing, who round out the top 6. So 386 points, a huge margin, and still with 3 races for them to extend that. Confirmation of the rest. 14 different teams have scored points within the 2018 championship, the Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland. So an intriguing race. Michael Amamola will not sleep easy tonight, and he'll want to get himself back up there fighting for a race victory. He's really got to try and beat Tommy Preining in tomorrow's race to try and claw something back from the weekend. So we wait for the drivers to make their way up onto the podium. It'll be a very satisfied Tommy Preining, of course, on the top step. And Marius Nacken will be pleased as well, because I mentioned that it was Tim Zimmerman's first podium of the year. It's also Marius Nacken's first podium as well. His best result in 2nd place. His previous best was a 4th place finish, Marius Nacken, at the Nürburgring, the first visit of the weekend of the year to the Nürburgring. So 2 newcomers to the podium in 2nd and 3rd. Tim Zimmerman 3rd, Marius Nacken in 2nd, and a true international lineup as well. An Austrian driver, a Norwegian, and a German filling the top 3 places on the podium. Race 2 tomorrow will also have Tommy Preining on the pole position, having just edged it throughout the course of the 35-minute session this morning. And once again alongside him will be Michael Amamola, hoping for a better run through turn 1 this time. 3rd on the grid tomorrow will be Larry ten Voorde. Tony Wolff will be better off tomorrow, 4th on the grid. Jaap van Lagen will be 5th, and 6th on the grid will be Marius Nacken. If you can get another lightning start, you might just try and get another podium. Ricard Bechtel there with the microphone, who will MC the podium and looks after the media and PR for Porsche Carrera Cup with the Racecam.de team. Drivers, first of all, have to go through the formalities of being weighed. Tommy Preining, who barely looks like he's broken into a sweat, does he? Gets on. weighs himself. They add the weight of the drivers to the weight of the cars to make sure they're add together to be above the minimum weight, one of the requirements. And all the drivers that are going to be picking up trophies, with our 3 AM-class drivers as well, have to do that before they get onto the podium. And they have to be careful. You want to run as close to the minimum weight as possible, of course, because it's every 100th of a second counts in the Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland. And you've got to bear in mind the drivers, well, I was going to say the drivers sweat out and lose fluid and can lose a kilogram or 2 in fluid on a very, very hot day. I say that, and then look at Tommy Preining. It looks like he's literally, you know, he's been on the sofa watching a film and chilling out for the last hour, because he looks completely calm and fit as a fiddle. The Austrian driver on the top step of the podium, BWT Lechner, the winning team, and now the national anthem of Tommy Preining. Well, he's getting used to this. Tommy Preining, his 5th win of the year in the Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland. The Austrian national anthem plays proudly over the speakers. And Tommy Preining now receives the winner's trophy from Michael Saxer from Leiter Sport, the ADAC governing body of motorsport here. Oliver Koppen, who's the project manager of the Porsche Carrera Cup Germany, presents the 2nd place trophy. And that, of course, goes to Marius Nacken. And there is Lena Strycek, who also works for the Porsche Carrera Cup German organisation team. She hands the 3rd place trophy to a delighted Tim Zimmermann with his first trophy of the year. Michael Sachs will be back to present the winning trophy to our winning team. And it's Thomas Lechner that takes the trophy on behalf of not just the winning team today, but the winning team for the year, having totally dominated the 2018 season. And now it's just which of their drivers is going to win the championship title. Larry ten Voorde looks like his chances are slipping away. Champagne time for Tommy Preining then. He's been winning races in this championship, winning races in the Porsche Super Cup as well. And it's a year to remember, and how many more years to come? He's just 20 years of age, Tommy Preining. He could be doing this for another 20 years easily. Confirmation that he has more than 20 points lead now in the championship. 22 clear of Ammermuller, ten Voorde, 71 adrift, and only 75 points still available. He's got to close the gap at the end of the next race. So it's looking very much like a two-way race, two-way fight for the title. But Tommy Preining takes a big, big stride towards his maiden championship title in cars in only his 3rd season of car racing. But he knows how to win championships. As I said, he was the European karting champion in a very tough arena as well. So well done to those 3 drivers, our top 3 overall, our top 3 pro drivers. So some highlights now from the first race of the weekend here. High five and a good luck to Michael Ammermuller. Started okay, but then turn 1 was where it all went wrong. Nacken down the inside, Ammermuller stepping out of the way. Ten Voorde getting a shove as well. There was definite contact there. Ammermuller will be having words, I reckon, with Nacken after the race. Tony Wolff tried to avoid it all. The doors opened and through he went to gain a couple of places. And there a replay, you can see ten Voorde braving it around the outside. You can gain through the outside, but you're always putting yourself at risk. There was the moment that we lost number 4 Soren Spreng, and Richard Wagner was the unfortunate driver that arrived to find a car sideways. Another car went off the road in avoidance, but Richard Wagner coming off with a very unlucky end to his challenge for a race there. So there was damage to the left corner of the number 4 car of Soren Spreng. He's had an eventful day so far. Larry ten Voorde had to work very, very hard to get himself up into 5th place ahead of Tony Wolff. And when he did, he was charging through. There he goes on the onboard camera to get ahead of Tony Wolff. And then he shot after Michael Ammermuller, but was never able to find a way past. Had a challenge for a couple of laps, dropped back for a few laps, and then came on to the tail of him again at the end of the race. The checkered flag went the way of Tommy Preining, who extends his championship lead in the Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland. And well done to BWT Lechner, our team's champions for 2018. So now we'll have the